Hi, I'm Scott. I'm a Quiet Place fan.
Hi, I'm Senthil, and I'm a Bird Box fan.
So the two of us have decided, since we disagree, we're going to start watching as many horror movies as we can and come up with a new way of rate them. Come join us. Hey, Simple, how you doing?
Fantastic. How about you?
I'm doing okay. Hey, Simple. So I brought a movie to you. It's called Hideout. It was filmed it was released in 2021. Runs about an hour and 54 minutes. An hour and 54 minutes too long, in my opinion. It was directed by Chris. And if Chris, if you're watching, I apologize. Roselli. I apologize if I mixed that up. This film is, well, before I get into it, Senthil, I want to get your first reactions to this film.
I think it was too long. It's one of those moments where I hit pause and see how much time is left in this movie. It's really way too long. There are elements I thought were really well done. The music, I've always talked about before. I'm a fan of how the background score really
Yes.
makes or breaks the movie. My all-time best example is Star Wars. I think Star Wars would be a shit movie if you didn't have John Williams' score behind it. And so this, as a horror movie should, had some great musical moments, but I thought it was too long. I thought the plot dragged out. I thought it had potential that was completely unrealized and wasted throughout it. I saw some really interesting moments. There's one scene where the head of the bear behind one of the characters starts moving.
Yes.
And the effects. There were two effects in there that was just, for a low budget movie, were simply outstanding. I'll just say for the audience, without giving it away, there's a snake scene and a human being. There's a face disfigure scene that was
Yeah.
outstandingly well done. But I thought the story would just fizzled out.
It dragged, and this was one of those films that I think if they had reduced it down to an hour and 10, hour and 15, would have been really good. I thought the characters were okay. I think that several of the characters overacted their
Yeah.
bits, right? I thought the evil female young character did an amazing job. I really liked her a lot. I thought she played that role really well. This movie for me was one of those movies where I could see the potential, but by the end of it, I really didn't care because it had just taken too long to get to what they were trying to get to at the end, after we already knew what they were getting to, right? By the end, and by the end, you didn't care what happened at the lemon, in the lemon grove. That they kind of hint towards. I was disappointed, Simple, because I could see the potential here. It just it tried too hard.
Yeah, I think this is a great example of where the script could have used a few more revisions and
Yes.
tighten up. I also thought that young female villain role, she did a great job, but I thought her character was grossly underutilized and
Yes.
was a background character in many scenes, and she was outperforming the main characters. The main characters did a good job for the most part, but they were, I think, new enough to acting that they were distracting in some cases in their performance and pulled me
Yeah.
out of the movie. And that's what it was for me. There were spots of really good moments in there, but it didn't hold together. It wasn't very tight, and it meandered. So I didn't care either by the end.
Well, I mean, what to me, I thought that the female cast did a solid job, right? The sister, I thought, felt like she was in a transformation through the film, right? And towards the end of it. But to me, the men just overacted all of it. I mean, the brother who would just stare off into space for minutes on end in the film, it was just like,
Yeah.
I mean, for minutes
The
like
performance
that.
didn't work. And what's interesting is when these types of movies, any kind of movies made, there's fixed budgets because you're paying a
Yeah.
staff, you're paying a crew, and I have to wonder if you're in the midst of making a movie and you figure out that the script isn't working, the direction isn't working. What do you do at that point, especially if you have fixed budget? I think you're almost at a scenario where you just have to play it through. You don't
I
have
would agree.
flexibility. And when we, make the movie we've been talking about, I'm of a different mindset because it's not going to have the same cost profile for us. that it would for a traditional movie crew. If we go halfway through, like, holy cow, the script isn't working, this isn't working. I would rather go back and revisit it than continue. And I think I have to wonder if this is the case where they may have realized that it's not working. It's 2 hours long, but what do you do at that point? You have no choice.
Edited some. I mean,
Maybe
there were
that-
editable bits in here, Senthil. I mean, again,
You're right.
I think you have to look at your material and go, so that what we're working on right now, the script that we're working on, I can't see it going longer than an hour and 10, hour and 15. I just can't. There's no way I can get the idea past that, right? Because it's a single scene, shot. It takes place in an evening. You can't drag it on. And the challenge I had with Hideout was they've robbed someplace. This is a hideout. They get there, the one of the people is shot, right? And this is the house they find the hideout in, right? And that's why it's called Hideout. So they find it. You could have, Becky's a great example of this. Becky was an hour and 15, I think.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah.
Came here, Hideout, boom, done. Hideout was like, we're just going to drag this for 2 hours. And let me tell you something, in order to keep me entertained for 2 hours, you got to be really good. The film has got to be amazing for me to sit for 2 hours.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear, but my neighbor's dog doesn't like the movie either because she's loudly complaining about it. And I just have to tell my neighbor's dog that you're right. There were some really fascinating elements to this movie. The fact that the mother and the daughter weren't afraid, weren't
right.
Sure. You definitely made me go, why? There's something clearly not quite right here, that they are not remotely bothered by,
right.
these robbers. And so you could have made it very simple and cut 54 minutes out of it, maybe. Okay, maybe not that much. Maybe 35, 40 minutes out of it, and tighten it up and focus on more on the daughter who's of the same center, and made her the star villain of the movie, and maybe anti-hero in this case. They
were trying to make the brother the star of the film, so they're trying to make the guy in the flannel shirt, like she's controlling him, right? So you don't really know that she's doing it, but you know that she's doing it from the start, and that was the problem, Senthil. I mean, this isn't one of those movies like that was like a Sixth Sense where you're going, "Ooh, what's going on? What happened?" No.
And he couldn't pull it off.
No, he couldn't. No, I didn't like it.
Just looked like that acting. So unlike the last movie we talked about, which for audiences, One Cut of the Dead from 2017, I can't recommend this. It was just too long, and the plot didn't hold together. If I was going to show my friends and horror fans this, I would clip the really outstanding 2 or 3 special effects scenes and say, holy moly, this is professional grade work in a low budget movie. And the score was clearly very compelling. And that's all I can say for it.
Yeah, so Senthil, I totally agree with you. Unfortunately, this is the second movie that we've reviewed that this would be number 4 for me, that I would say I wouldn't recommend this one. Like you, there's a couple of special effects shots that if you want to fast forward through and see, I thought were impressive. Like you, I liked the music, the score behind the scenes, I think elevated this up, but it drags. It's one of those movies that just drags for 2 hours, and it feels like 4. And that was the bad part, Senthil. I mean, like if it's a movie that feels like 2 hours, okay, this one feels like it just keeps going, and you stop and you think that you've been watching it for an hour and it's only been half an hour and you're going, whoa. So like you, I think it dragged. It's not one that I would recommend. Yeah. Well, Senthil, thank you so much for joining me again. And I'm looking forward to our next movie review. I'll talk to you soon.
Looking forward to it. See you next time.